Jessica Curl, welcome to Brolosophy.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, look, I've done a bit of, looking around and trying to figure out exactly who you are. I said this before the show, but it'd be better if you explain in your words. Tell us a little about yourself. Who is Jessica Curl?
So I am a athlete by trade. Yeah,
cool.
Growing up, done sports my whole life. I moved to Melbourne about 10 years ago, originally from a small town in North Dakota. Just like the middle of nowhere. You wouldn't go there for any reason.
Yeah, right.
North Dakota, yeah. You know Fargo, the movie?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking surely there's some American dramas set in North Dakota in the snow somewhere.
Fargo's the only one.
Oh, I love Fargo.
Yeah. So I came to Melbourne about 10 years ago, played some high-level soccer for South Melbourne.
Cool.
And then just loved it so much that I stayed. And then, I got my kind of first job as a personal trainer, where I do have a background in strength and conditioning and stuff like that. So got my first job here. Then I decided to take up strongman. Ruptured my Achilles twice.
Oh, what?
So, yeah, I ruptured it first January 2016.
Doing what?
Doing box jumps.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so for anyone, I'm ruining your day.
I was thinking of like deadlifting, squatting, like throwing kegs. I'm like, how do you rupture your Achilles?
It was like a conditioning session.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it.
So ruptured it.
Box jumps suck.
Dude, and rebounding.
I have 2 bulge discs and a torn disc in my back. I don't really anymore, probably. Like I have for years.
Yeah.
And I train as a weightlifter. And even now I can train again. I'm fully recovered. I can squat as heavy as I like, snatch, clean and jerk, whatever. I can't do box jumps and I can't run because I'll get major back spasms.
Weird.
It's the only thing that sets me off.
Must be like the landing, that intense landing.
It sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, so did that, then had surgery a month later. So you're on bed rest for a month. You're not allowed to get out of bed for more than like 5 minutes to go to the toilet.
Full on. For how long? A month, you said?
Yeah, so 4 weeks.
That would suck.
It sucked. So
my God. What did you do, by the way? Watch Lord of the Rings 17 times?
No. I was like, yes, I actually just bought this functional nutritionist course. So I was doing that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. So it was good timing. But then my first session at the physio, I walked back home and I re-ruptured my Achilles.
What?
So like a month, like a month
Walking?
later. Yeah, like back into my house.
Oh my God. Do you know, that's so funny. My buddy, he had shoulder issues. He was a really good footy player. And he called me one day and he was shattered. He swatted a fly off the back of his head and re-injured his shoulder.
No.
He needed a surgery from swatting a fly off the back of his head.
Well, so I had a 7-centimeter gap, which is like the largest that the surgeon had ever seen. And I had to have like a 3-hour surgery. Oh. So what they do is they actually take the tendon from your big toe, drill a hole through your heel, and graft it across your like severed Achilles.
Oh, so when you sever your Achilles, you have a 7-centimeter gap. That's when your Achilles goes boing and goes up your calf.
Well, because the first surgery, they just bring it back together. They're like, sweet, you'll be good. And then what had happened, it had severed into like multiple parts.
Right.
So there was nothing left to sew back together. Yeah, so now like I don't have individual function in my big toe, and I have terrible range of motion through my ankle, as you can imagine.
All right.
So that was like 6.5 more months of bed rest.
What?
And then hydrotherapy with a bunch of old people, swimming, slowly walking, and now back to normal life 3 years later. Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So are you fully able to do everything now? Like you stay away from box jumps, I assume? Or
I do box jumps. I just don't rebound.
Yeah.
So now I do like elite Spartan racing. I do Ninja Warrior stuff. Like the surgeon was like, "You'll never compete. You'll never run." And I was like, F that noise, like that's not my personality. So it took me, I only started running last year. So it took me 2 years to build up confidence. And I'm still pretty wary just because of the dorsiflexion is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I don't have any pain, don't have any issues. It's really strong. It's just not mobile.
That's great.
So yeah.
Yeah, I got told the same thing with my back actually. I got like 5 different, I was like, hey, check my back out. They're like, yep, you'll never be able to squat again. I'm like, all right, see you later.
Yeah, bye.
Hey, check my back out. Never squat again. All right, see you later. And then finally someone was like, we can fix this. And then now I'm sweet. But cool. So no worries. So were you always a sporty kid? Like how come you're like, I'm an athlete by trade?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That's going to be your quote.
I'm an athlete.
Athlete by trade, Jessica Curl.
Well, I guess so. Like I just did all sports growing up, and I was one of those kids that was luckily kind of good at everything I did.
Yep.
So golf, like I was a 4-sport athlete through high school. So basketball, volleyball, soccer, track. Then like I swam, I did taekwondo, I did tennis. Like I was just Yeah, I just loved it. And my dad was he was like a D-level basketball player and a high-level baseball player. So, he was always like, we painted a key in my driveway. So they were always like very proactive in me being active.
That's great.
And it's just like, I've always been competitive. And even after my injury, I was like trying to get back to the gym and I was like, how do people just go to the gym for nothing? Like, I was like, I don't understand. And that's where I ended up finding Spartan and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I can compete again. This is sweet. So like I just, unluckily my brother got like 0 athletic genes. He got more of the brain stuff.
Jokes on him.
Yeah, unlucky. But yeah, I just...
Mind you can't add up to 10.
Oh, dude.
Wait, add up to 10?
Add up to 10.
Fuck, how's me?
I like it. 10 kilos. I can weigh 10 kilos, yeah. I guess like it's always been a huge part of my life, just being a sporty person. And yeah, that's it. That's my athletic background.
That's good. So, okay, so now, like looking at your kind of, because what happens is I have talent. Like our producer finds people that I might be interested in talking to, and I'll have a bit of a gaze through their bio, and I'm like, yeah, reach out to that person, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, just doing a little bit of preparation for the show, and then I was like, nutritionist, PT, strength coach, gym owner. Like, what do you do with your days these days?
Well, so I own Project Better. We've been open now. It'll be 2 years in April. We're pretty much at capacity, so we're going to go second site in 2021, which is pretty cool. Got a few trainers working with me now, and we've got about 400 and some members. So basically my day at the moment is like a few clients, but now leading more into that upskilling of the guys that work with me. So mentoring. We've got a big kind of range of guys who've just come into the industry or been in the industry for a year or two, and then those who have like got a background in endurance running and stuff. So we're always like looking to upskill from like their own, like even from a one-on-one coaching perspective with like people. So working on the psychology of coaching to actual movement stuff. And yeah, like basically I have like meetings after that, and then I train myself, and I might do ninja or running or whatever, and then some more clients, and then I walk the dogs and I go to bed. Yeah.
Cool. That's good. So your gym's at capacity. I came from a CrossFit background into weightlifting. I was a coach of both, and I love the. I don't do any coaching. I haven't for probably like 4 years. It's probably the one thing in life. I played a lot of football, like local football. The coaching and being in that gym environment is probably the one thing I miss the most in my whole entire life. I got a mate who set up a Ollie gym in Carrum Downs. It's miles. It's right in between. Like I grew up on the peninsula, so all my family's down there. I live in the city. It's right in between, and I keep talking to him. I'm like, man, I want to come and just coach some sessions.
Is it Chris Ackland?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Chris.
Yeah, he's a great friend of mine.
Friend of mine too.
Yeah, oh, cool. Chriso. He'll be stoked. I'll have to let him know he got a shout out on the show. 2 shout outs. So I fucking love Chris Ackland. It's just, he's one of those blokes that like, anytime I just think about him, I'm like,
He's such a good dude.
Yeah. So, and I just love, like what he's about. And his brand and his philosophy, we always have gone back and forth weightlifting talk, me and him. And I really do miss coaching. But anyway, I guess my question was, so to get a gym to capacity and like want to open a second location, obviously you're doing some things right. And I've always been fascinated about, the community side of gyms. Like I have seen what the offerings at Project Better are. So, some group classes and so on and so forth. And like CrossFit, F45, whatever it is. I really am fascinated by the community aspect and the kind of third place aspect of it. Have you ever heard of the term third place?
No.
So, I don't know where I came across this term.
Did you make it up?
Nah, I wish I did. I wish I was like, you can use that if you like. But I remember it was something to do with CrossFit, because like for a few years there I was like really, really into CrossFit. And I was reading a blog about CrossFit, I believe. Anyway, it was talking about the concept of a third place. So it's effectively like home is your first place.
Yeah.
Work is your second place.
Yeah.
And then you need a third place. And
yeah.
Because, most people, first place or second place, one of them's probably not doing great a lot of the time.
Sure.
Sometimes, and then some people, both are, not in the ideal situation for, long stretches of time. So it's everybody's a third place, and it might be like a knitting club, or well, maybe not for you.
Yeah, sure.
You'd be like competitively knitting.
Yeah, do so bad.
But I just I'm fascinated by the community aspect. So like, what makes a good gym for you? How have you built your gym? What's your philosophy around like?
So I guess our philosophy is, so if you've seen our layout, it's a tiered approach. So if you want to come and do your own thing, cool. If you want a little bit of help, great. If you want more help, awesome. Yeah, but it's pick your own approach, and we don't sell to anyone, right? Like I can't make you want to come to the gym.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be there, that's fine. But let's find something else that works for you. So I think having that attitude when people come in to look, I'm like, they're like, you don't have this, you have this. I'm like, no, this is what we offer. Like, if you want to be here, like my only goal in life is to help change lives, right? That's I want to leave this world in a better place. So if we're the place for you or do you want to try it, cool, right? So that's the first aspect I think is just keeping it people first. Yep. And so we brought things into our gym that add more value to our members without a huge cost to us, right? So having infrared sauna and ice baths included in the membership, having an eVolt scanner included in the membership, and like we do like a Saturday morning community class, which is free to members and non-members.
Cool.
So you want to come, you want to do some movement, you want to bring a friend, awesome. Like let's do that.
Great. I might just pretend to be somebody's friend.
Yeah, you don't have to be a friend. You can just come. Yeah, you don't have to be a member.
Oh, that's great.
So Saturdays 9:30, just a little plug.
Cool. I really
Saturday.
like the look of your gym too. It looks slick on the inside.
Well, like what we were saying, like wood floors, greenery, black,
exposed concrete. I was actually exposed brick. I was actually. That's not, but that's brick, and that's brick. Oh, that might not be brick. That definitely is. I was actually just going to say to the people in this studio, I was going to be like, by the way, can I just rip half the wall off?
Yeah, that's what we did. We just ripped the wall down, and it was like, it used to be a Roxy at one point, so it was painted.
I shouldn't even tell them.
No, don't tell them. And then sandblasted, and it'll look sick.
Yeah, but sandblasting, is that with air? Or a gurney?
Yeah.
You can do it with air?
I think so,
I can't fucking gurney the joint in.
Oh, it's like pretty you'd have to take everything. That's really messy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It looks so good though. Anyway, so gym looks really good. So I'll cut you off though.
So I guess, and then like the idea behind having like a nice gym, and we don't have mirrors, we've got the lighting is low blue light, all the plants, it's like a very warm and welcoming space. So the biggest thing for us is like to build relationships when you come in, because the gym is a scary place for most people, not us, 100%. We forget that. So I guess is like making sure when people come in, they have a positive interaction. So like I always say hi and bye to people. I make sure I stop and have chats. The guys that we hire, like that's a big thing for me is like people first, humility. So I think that, it's top down. So I've instilled that myself and then try to instill in the guys, and then that comes across. And we do like Spartan things as a team. We do some ninja stuff. We did like challenges, like just anything. We're doing a run club, so suck less at running club at the moment, which is cool.
Sweet. Hate running.
I hate running too. That's why I suck less at running. And then we're gonna do some like strength workshops this year and stuff. And because like 70% of our clientele have never been to a gym. Yeah. Yeah. So like
full on.
Yeah, it's awesome though. How cool, right? Like people are like, I've never had a membership, but this is great. And so I guess like it's just making that little inner city hipster ripple of the health world, which is quite neat.
Yeah, that's great. I like what you said about the small interactions you have with people, because I used to work at a gym in South Melbourne, and one of our policies was that we had like a really long onboarding process. It was like 8. It was 10 sessions originally.
Wow.
And then it was 8. Yeah, I was like, you guys are fucking mental. Like this is way too much.
Yeah.
But as I started doing it, they ended up winding it down to like 6 or whatever. But people really actually liked it.
Yeah,
they were like,
totally.
I want to feel comfortable picking up a barbell when I get out there, you know, because people get. But while you were, it was like it wasn't like you get in trouble if you don't do it, but it was a rule, and everyone was just fired up to do it. When there was somebody who was going through, you'd be off to the side, like on the wall along the back side wall or back wall, doing this like learning air squats and like proper push-ups, whatever you're doing. And if a coach walked past, like you had to introduce yourself to the person. Yo, Jess, what's going on? I'm Mark. Heard you were coming in today. And it's just nice because it's that icebreaker, because gyms are so fucking like intimidating for most people. Yep. Because the other thing is, you walk in and not only like even me, right? Like I'm always been into athletics. I've always played football, basketball, been in the gym since I was 12 years old, whatever, blah blah. But like I walk into a gym and I don't know anyone. Like I'll still be like, fucking hell. Everyone's absolutely friends, you can see, and you're like, where do I fit in this whole thing? So to get that ice-breaking, welcoming feel for people is massive, I reckon. Well,
like we just got back from a month in the States, and so we just like jumped around to CrossFit gyms, and like the how warm and welcoming the community is like awesome, right? Like everyone was like, equally shit at the workouts, and that's what makes you like almost like
yeah.
join together.
Like, fuck, we suck.
Yeah. But like people,
we're the worst ever.
And then people added me, like on Facebook and Instagram, and have like it's just like a very cool thing, and that's what I want. That was actually one of my goals for 2020 is to create more community at Project Better. So that's what I've been trying to do. Yeah,
it's great. I've had 2 conversations on this podcast with Tony Doherty from
awesome.
Doherty's Gyms.
Yep.
The first one we did was because I get asked all the time what my favourite podcast that we've done is. That people just like, what's your favourite show? And Rusty Young was pretty good. He wrote Marching Powder,
cool.
and he was like real, not hero of mine, but like I love that book.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of buddies. That was sick. But Tony Doherty show, Rusty Young or Tony Doherty might be my all-time favourite. The first Tony Doherty one, I was getting goosebumps the shit he was saying. And I wasn't expecting it. Don't tell Tony Doherty this. But it was literally, I was like, we'll interview Tony Doherty. Sure, we'll have a no worries conversation, but it'll be the first step to getting towards interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, I'll be nice to you so you get me closer to Arnie, and one day we'll have Arnie on the show. So,
wicked.
But then I was just like, fuck, I'm loving this conversation. Anyway, the reason that show was so good, I remember Tony said, because I was just so surprised, because he's a kind of meathead looking dude.
Yeah.
And I was
he has
like,
a meathead gym.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And everything he said, I was just like, he said that Doherty's gym, he was like, you have to remember, I tell all my staff, number one rule is you have to assume that this hour that someone's walking into our gym is going to be the best hour of their day, or they're hoping that it's going to be the best hour of their day. It's their outlet, for sure. And even if home and work are good, it's still probably the number one thing you want to do in the day, to blow off steam and just be with your friends or whatever. So that's rad. I think it's really important now, because I feel like community is one thing that's lacking, fucking this age, social media, 1-bedroom apartments, public transport, office cubicles. So I think it's so important. I really do. And it's something I like talking about, actually.
Yeah. Well, you're creating a little bit of a community for yourself here.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I used to run a company called Adventure Fit Travel. And we used to take people all around the world on fitness adventure holidays.
Lit.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I was really, I really tried to, I took that very seriously, and, people always would go there for a reason, they were like, people would book a holiday and you'd be like, oh, this person just wants to go to Iceland, or this person wants to go to Mexico. But really, they'd been made redundant, or someone had, busted their knee and they wanted to prove that they could do this massive hike they've always wanted to do, or there was always a reason.
Sure.
And for gyms, I think, and for Adventure Fit, the company that I used to run or whatever, it's all just about how do we create connection and make people never want to turn back,
Well, and that's the missing link, right?
Yeah.
You talk about, look at what's the French paradox is they have the community. Doesn't matter that they drink wine every night or they smoke or eat all the carbs in the world, but they do it with people and they do it in a social environment. It's huge.
100%.
It's absolutely huge. Yeah.
100%. Cool. So with your coaching and nutrition work and so forth, I remember I didn't remember hearing. In the brief when your account was first when your profile whatever was sent across to me by the guys, they're like, oh, check this out, I think it would be a good conversation. I was like, yeah, for sure. They took a quote from one of your blogs, and I couldn't find it this morning.
Right,
it was but it was about it was about sleep and stress.
Yeah.
And the impact it has on life.
Everything.
Yeah. So I actually am really fascinated by that, because I even on the drive up here this morning when I was coming, because I'm staying on the peninsula where I grew up, house sitting in my dad's place. But when I was coming back up this morning, I was listening to a 5-minute podcast about Casper mattresses, and the fact that they've got all this funding and they're losing all this money, but they're trying to grow really fast, blah, blah, blah. And they want to go public, and they want $500 million or whatever with a public offering. And the whole thing is because they want to open up all these other ranges of sleep-based products. Yeah. So not just mattresses, CBD oils, sleep trackers or whatever, because they feel like the next huge economy is going to be the sleep economy. And it's finally the triad of diet, fitness, the third thing is sleep. And it's fucking crazy. But So yeah, talk to me about that. Like
about sleep.
yeah, no, really.
Look. So I mean, sleep's a big one for me because my mom's. So she's a neurodiagnostic technologist. So she's a sleep doctor.
Oh right.
Right. Like we'll shorten that up.
Yeah. Can you say what you've
diagnostic technologist.
Gotcha.
So she's like, if you have sleep apnea, if you have nightmares, if you got night terrors.
What are the differences between nightmares and night terrors?
I think one is just a bit more intense. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So when I was a kid, I used to get night terrors. So I wouldn't remember, but I would wake up screaming and crying. And my mom would come and go, hey, go to bed. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd go to sleep. But I would have these, I guess, wild and crazy dreams that I wouldn't remember. And were triggered by scary movies. So I couldn't watch Jurassic Park. Weird things.
Oh, Jurassic Park's the best.
I know,
watched it like 3 nights ago. I watched the first and the most recent Jurassic Park in the last week.
Awesome. Yeah, so I can watch it now. Like now it's fine.
Oh, yeah, right. That's all right then.
But I was like a test subject, so I used to sleepwalk and like wake up in the closet like weird things, right? Which I don't do anymore now. But
my mates used to fucking piss in the closet when they were drunk sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same, but
Sorry. I used to sleepwalk.
So I guess like you're right, it's the missing link, and that's what I preach to people is like it's sleep, food, and training. So most people do the first 2 easy, but the thing is like now that we're in this like hyper stressed, hyper vigilant day and age, like no one wants to miss out on what's happening at nighttime, right? And we forget that you have something in your brain called the glymphatic system, which is like your lymphatic system, but it's in your brain. So your brain doesn't have receptors to tell you if it's inflamed. You can't go, oh, my brain hurts. Like that doesn't happen. So you could be not missing on sleep, eating like shit, like super stressed at work, in a shitty relationship, and your brain could be fucked, but you have no idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So sleep is the time when your inflammation flushes out, your memories.
Like your brain gets a massage.
Yeah, essentially. Absolutely. And there's so many phases, like not only does your brain and stuff turn over, but you physically have turnover during sleep as well. So you get growth hormone spike at night. But the thing is that, if you think about primal days, we used to go to bed with the sun going down, up with the sun coming up. And now we just don't do that at all. No. And there's a thing called it's called social jet lag. So when you have like a bedtime during the week, and then on the weekend you go to bed at 1 a.m., they compare it to the same as if you fly from New York to Paris and back in the weekend. Which is why on a Monday is when most people commit suicide or have heart attacks because you come back to work and you're like cooked.
Mondays suck.
That's why. That's where it comes from, the case of the Mondays. Yeah. And so, like in skipping out on sleep, it's the one thing that you can kind of pretend to mask with caffeine or sleeping medication, but it's like your brain health is so important. It's the be all end all to everything you do, right? So if you're not making the good neurotransmitters to have the feel good serotonin to produce the melatonin to help you sleep, like it's a cycle that keeps proliferating into something terrible.
Yeah, my buddy actually kind of got me thinking down this path. He's a full tripper, my mate. His name's Sirah. He's a skydiver.
Oh, lit.
And so he actually came on this show. He was our 4th ever guest. And we released a show and it was so funny. The title was Sex, Drugs and Skydiving.
Awesome.
And like, it was just the wildest conversation. And with a bit of skydiving in there, like professional skydiving and the ins and outs of that. And he talked about throwing bloody dead kangaroos out of planes and all this fucked up stuff.
Why?
Fridges out of planes, skydiving with fridges, skydiving, like hanging. They would get drunk and sky. He told all these stories and then like.
Did he get fired afterwards?
A week later, he goes, bro, you have to take that show down. The APF are after me. I thought he said AFP, Australian Federal Police. I'm like, the fucking what? And then, but it was APF, the Australian Parachute Federation. They said, take that show down or your membership is revoked for the rest of your life.
Sure, as it should be.
Yeah, so he's a fucking trooper, Sarah. He's the best, though. He's one of my good buddies. Anyway, he's a real, he's kind of gone like, hunter-gatherer. Like
awesome.
He
I just got my hunting license today.
Oh, yeah. So he lives out in, he used to live in the city because most of his work's up here, but now he's like in Brimley. He can walk, which is like Surf Coast, Great Ocean Road, start of the Great Ocean Road. So he can like walk to the sand in like 30 steps, wears no shoes, hunts most of his own meat, awesome. Candles at night. He has like a grounding bed.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. I still don't really know what that means, but
I've got grounding shoes,
Yeah. So, and he really got me into thinking about sleep. And interestingly, like, his big thing, and this is probably where I fall down. Like, I always try and give myself 8 hours of sleep opportunity. So, but realistically, I'm not good at the switching off side. So I'm like fucking
on the phone,
like this,
and
screen.
Coffee
at 7, like like all that, and then I'm like, okay, time to go to bed. And obviously there's sleep opportunity and actual sleep. And I think part of the reason everyone's sleep so fucked up is because, one, people try to like, entrepreneurs are the worst. They're like, hustle.
Course,
I'm like, fuck that shit. Sleep and hang out with your mates. But also, even if we are trying to get 8 hours, like we're not actually sleeping. You can't control when you sleep, but you can certainly make your sleep better through like blue light blockers and
so
ready
we
for
use
whatever
like
that
a
stuff.
Oura ring. Have you?
Oh yeah, my mate and business partner Drew has an Oura ring.
It's
he
the
was
best.
showing me about it.
Yeah.
Showing me it the other day. Fuck,
It's literally just like the little thing of instant feedback that says to you, did you do well last night?
Yeah.
Or what didn't you do well? Like, so I'll use it sometimes if I'm going to try a new supplement.
That's it there?
Yep, this is there.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
I haven't actually seen one in person.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's like little, you get different sizes, obviously.
You just tell me about it.
Lasts
the other
about
day.
7 days, and then you have to recharge it. But it's like, it's waterproof,
How do you
heat-proof.
charge this thing?
It goes on a little like thing.
Oh yeah.
So you get like the proper size.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, look, it's like $300 or $400, but it's definitely worth.
Oh, Drew
shared
because he's in Albury. He shared his screen with like the biomarkers and whatever, and I was like, man, this thing's
everything.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Well, and it's so good because like so then like sometimes we'll get family in town and I'll be like they'll be like I'm a great sleeper. I can have a coffee at 7:30 and I'm like okay, wear this to bed. And then it'll be like no sleep or light sleep or like awake all the night and just totally not aware of it. So you can get your 8 hours, but you could be not getting into your deep sleep or REM sleep and have no idea, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing is that with this age is like everyone is satisfied with feeling average. Their average is, you go, how are you feeling today? Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. But because you forgot what it's like to feel amazing.
Yeah.
And now your new normal is at 50%, not 100%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Fucking oath, it makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. I've actually been obsessed with gut health.
Yes.
Gut health and mental health, kind of, and the link or whatever. My ex, Cap, is a really close friend of mine. And she's up in Byron. She's a dietitian, and we've been doing all the tests, whatever. And I was trying to.
So neat.
Yeah. And I was trying to figure out the gut health stuff in relation to kind of what we're talking about, just like wellness, general wellness, and how you're feeling. And I said, look, I'm just trying to understand this, Cap. And I said to her, so my day-to-day, sleep, exercise, nutrition, time with my friends, whatever, is going to dictate where I fall in my range of low and high in like wellness.
Sure.
And I said like the gut health thing is like really raising the floor and the ceiling, right? And she was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I was like pumped that I kind of could figure out. That's all I could figure out. But
you just got to think like, look, your whole GI tract is the barrier from the inside to the outside world.
Yeah.
Okay. So unfortunately, we live in the modern world. There's exhaust. You live in a busy street. There's chemicals on our food. Annoying people. Yeah. Stress. That'll impact it. But then like you have things in your control, like what you're putting in your mouth for food and drink and how much of it you're putting in your mouth and your stress levels and how much you're sleeping and all that stuff comes into it. Because if you actually don't protect that, like that's where you get autoimmune conditions, cancers, like everything starts to break down and it starts in the gut. Like it's 100% we know now things start breaking down the gut first and then other things proliferate depending on where your weak link is.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I've always been probably too much so from time to time, like obsessed with like my wellness, how I feel.
It's relative, sure.
Yeah. How I feel, like, and whatever. But gut health is something that I'm quite interested in. And sleep's super important. The other thing, when I read that little kind of quote from one of your blogs, and it was talking about stress, and for sure, like this is very anecdotal, but my grandma and my grandpa both said, my grandpa passed away, but they always said he stressed himself to cancer. They were like, he gave himself cancer. Like that's, and that's obviously very anecdotal. Like my nan's like, he gave himself cancer.
No, but it's cancer. Like sorry, not cancer. Cortisol is the be all end all.
Yeah.
So cortisol it's just stress. So whether again that's from relationships, emotional, food, not sleeping, whatever. Yeah. Like you got to think like really simply. Your body's either producing cortisol or helping produce things like your sex hormones, right? And this is why there's an epidemic as well with like people not being able to get pregnant because it comes from the same place. And if you need to get away from a tiger or produce a baby, your body's going to precedence you staying alive. But you're doing that all the time. So you're waking up, you're having a coffee, then you're going to this job you hate, then you're like picking up the kids and they're like screaming and you hate that. And then you're training too hard, then you're not eating enough. And now the body's like, oh God, we're pumping out, we're getting away from this tiger because it recognizes all stress the same.
Yeah.
So if your thing is working into the ground, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter where it comes from, right?
Yep.
And it just breaks down everything else. Like you don't turn over tissue, like you get hippocampal shrinkage, so your brain shrinks, like all kinds of shit happens. Yeah.
Brain shrinkage. Fuck yeah.
I know. We're fucked.
So yeah, far out. Stress, eh? I definitely have felt it. I've got depression probably now, really, which is a bit of a fucking...
A downer?
But I'm working through it. But it's been probably like 5 years of... It was really business stress. Adventure Fit, the company that I talked about earlier, it was so good. Like the product was fucking amazing. We had like lots of good stuff. It was amazing. But it was so stressful, and the business model sucked. And it was my first business that I'd really run it, and it didn't run it well. Didn't track anything, measure any fucking financial anything. So I was so stressed, and it started with like I started getting anxiety, like social anxiety, really bad, and then probably 18 months ago, and I'm hoping that I'm coming through the worst of it, and I certainly feel no worries today, and I feel good today.
That's good.
Not like okay.
I'm glad I got you on a good day.
And like probably like 2 or 3 weeks I've felt like that, but it was for sure like probably like 18 months I've had on and off depression, and particularly like lately it's been quite bad and whatever. But it was fucking all from stress. Financial stress and like stress of like letting people down, business failing and whatever.
Sure.
I've never had... My life has been excellent, it really it has. I liked playing footy, so I concentrated on that, won a senior premiership, which was one of my goals, went and travelled the world, did all this stuff, nothing in my life, and there was no stress, and I was just so happy, so active, so whatever. And then, I've been smashed from stress over the last few years. So talk to me more, like how do you, what do you, if someone's comes into the gym and you're like, right, cool, this is one of the key elements that I see that I can help you, or it's like ding, ding, ding.
Sure.
Like, what do you do?
Well, the first thing I sit down and talk to people about is, again, that 3 pyramid. Like, I already do that. I'm like, if you're doing 80% of those things, then everything else works.
Yeah, that's sleep, fitness, and diet.
Yeah,
sleep,
pretty
training,
much.
diet,
I mean, there's
whatever.
always like, if you've got, a parasite or a gut bug or thyroid issue, but I mean, everything's a smaller picture of that. But I try and teach people, like, we just got to minimize the stress. And so I ask them, I'm like, what's happened in the last 5 years of your life? Have you changed jobs? Have you had anyone die? And the thing is that people don't think they're stressed. It's good that you're aware of your stress, because the biggest thing is like, people are like, oh, I'm not that stressed. But then you start writing it down and you're like, oh, well.
I'm not stressed.
But it's an awareness thing. People are honestly so unaware.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so that's a big thing. I talk about, like, we take the approach of like, I'm not going to come in and smash you.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if you came to my gym, I would be like, well, like obviously you've got a big plate of things going on. Obviously, like your gut health, your gut produces 75% of your serotonin. Your happy hormone.
Yeah.
So that's already telling me a red flag. So you would be someone where I'd be like, okay, we should probably do a stool test.
Yeah.
Maybe get your bloods done. Look at all that stuff.
I'm doing all that stuff actually right now.
Beautiful.
I've already done it once, but I'm doing
me.
it again.
But look, I guess it's like you said about the happy thing, like I try and make clients, like especially who's super, super stressed, is like their hour or 2 hours with me a week is got to be like, like I'm building them up. I'm on this journey with them. Like a lot of people don't have that in their life. They don't have someone as a companion. So, I mean, it's not really, it's kind of out of my scope if it's more psychological or relationship.
Sure.
But I mean, I have seen a psychologist and I have done all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And, I'm not perfect, so I try and delegate where I can. But I try and just tell people, like, let's control what you can't control. Yeah. So we need to build a morning routine or a nighttime routine, because we're giant babies, right? So as long as you do the same thing every night, it's true. Like if you have kids and you go, all right, we do dinner, bath time, bed, they'll do that every night.
Yeah.
If you do it, it's the same. The body will learn to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I talk to people about that, and then I'm like, okay, let's make sure you're training for you and to get results and to not overdo it, right? And then like food, are you eating enough? Are you eating too much? Are you eating the right things? Like, do you have something going on that we need to address? So I tend to start people with, let's control what we can control.
Yeah.
Which is those 3 things.
Yep.
And then, give that a month, 2 months, see what's going on. If things are moving in the right direction, awesome. Keep going with it until you plateau. And then we go, okay, well, maybe we need to look at tailoring the diet or looking at blood work or something else in the chain. But, if you're doing those 3 things,
you're going to be pretty good.
Absolutely.
Really. They're the 3 key movers, really.
Totally. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Morning routine, something I've always been massive on. I actually gamified my morning routine a few years ago. I was like, fuck, I just can't.
Gamified. I like that.
Yeah, I really did. So what I did was I created a days of the week across this board, days of the week, and then actions. And it was like, it was a morning routine thing, but there was a couple of things that were like in the day as well.
Yep.
But it was like cold shower, meditation, gratitude journal, walk my dog, green smoothie, I think it was on there. I don't know what it was.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it was like 10 things, and I gave them like. Actually, I just ticked them off to try and get in the habit, to create that habit.
Totally.
And then I actually wrote a blog about it and gave it like a scoring system and like whatever.
Do you still do it now?
Yeah, well, what happened was I probably dropped off a little bit towards like middle of last year. I realised that I had no morning routine really. Like I always would have a cold shower.
Yeah.
But I wasn't meditating, and I haven't really taken up meditating again. Like the last year I have hardly meditated, and I probably was meditating every day for a few years. But yeah, and then I was like, all right, cool, I'm not feeling great. So I'm going to try and build a routine again, build some consistency.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, so I did the same thing recently. I actually don't meditate anymore. It's kind of like what you said just before, I think, is like just tailoring it to myself. What do I think actually works well for me? And meditation just has never really been that. Like what would I rather do? I'd rather like get in my car and go to the nearest beach and go for a swim for like 5 minutes.
Sweet.
Like rather than, you know what I mean? But I think for me it was always about, you can't always, this is kind of stress levels wise, you can't always win your day. Like that's kind of out of your control. So say, for example, most people go to a job that they might not love, or not most people, but a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, you might come in and everything might just be shit for you that day, and really it's put a negative impact on you. So that's kind of like not winning your day, say. Or like some relationship thing that you have in your life didn't really go to plan, like you had a fucking fight with your partner, whatever. So that's like not really winning your day, So I always thought that you can have a day that you'll lose or you'll win. And really, if you win your morning routine, then the days that you lose, it's like a break even.
Sure.
And then not win your morning routine, just do your morning routine. And then like the days that you do your morning routine, you have a good day, it's like a great day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've always tried to, because I just feel like, running a business for sure, like my stress levels or whatever, I was always like, fuck, tomorrow's going to suck. I've got to have this call. I've got to do this. I've got to find money from here to do whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I want to enjoy my time before like 9 a.m. and do as much stuff for myself.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm massive on the morning routine. What's your morning routine look like?
So my alarm goes off at 4:50 every morning. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm a morning person. I also go to bed at like 8 p.m.
I actually got up at 5 a.m. this morning, actually.
That's good.
I went and surfed, urban surf at Tullamarine.
Oh, lit. I've got a voucher for there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's really good.
So get up at 4:50, like brush my teeth, do all that stuff, get to the gym, turn the coffee on, I do my 10-minute meditation. So I just use guided, calm, works well for me.
Cool.
I love it. And then I do 10 minutes of journaling. So I have like a guided journal too, I guess.
Guided journal.
Yeah, it's got like...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
what do you...
Questions to think about, right?
Yep.
And they're different every day.
Yep.
And it's only 2 of them. So it's awesome. It's like short and sharp, but I can do, contemplate. And then I drink my coffee and I just open my emails briefly to see if there's any like things on like a red flag for later. Yep. And then it's like, and then I start the clients at 6.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So, but I go to bed, like not sleep for me, like going back to sleep is like, it's a priority. Like I have no issue saying no to things at night. I go to bed at 7:38. I airplane mode my phone.
That's crazy.
But I am so shit. If I don't get 8+ hours, like I'm not a good person.
Yeah, I'm like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's one of those things that I'm too cognizant of as well now. I'm like, 7.5 hours, I'll wake up and I'm like, today's going to be shit.
Yeah, well, and it's like, it is hard to do, but like now I've like, that's my thing. And so my clients know my phone's off. They can message me if I won't get it. Like my friends know. And like, the thing is that like, I'm also 32. So like when I talk about this to my trainers who are 25 and don't get what it's like to say no to people, like the people in my life, they know my lifestyle, they respect it. And if you don't want to respect my lifestyle of me going to bed at 8 o'clock, or if you like, you don't want to be my friend because I don't want to go out, like get fucked. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here like doing
There's
things.
7 of my trainers that are 25 and they'll happily go
out with them. No, but like I've got a business to run,
sure.
2 dogs, like a partner. Like I gotta be like, if I'm not at my best, I can't give my best to people.
Yep.
So like, and that's my priority in life right now. And so like that's what I prioritize. And so even like, if it's a school night, I'm like, I'm out. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
That would be, it must be difficult on the weekend though to not have the sleep hangover though.
I still go to bed fairly early.
To start and finish.
Yeah. No, I don't set an alarm on the weekend, but I still go to bed like pretty regularly for me anyways.
Yeah.
But it would be hard absolutely for people. And I think it's really shit because in Australia, I find it comparatively to the US, it's like people are more ostracizing. If you are like, now I'm the person that doesn't drink. So if I do drink, it's awesome, right? Great. But like for people who used to be the drinker, have a group of friends that drink, and then they're like not drinking, like people are really really mean about it. And it's like really
brutal.
bad.
My mates are fucked.
And instead of being nice about it and being like, and that, unfortunately, it's probably something in them that they're reflecting back on you when you're trying to be a better person and they feel shit about themselves.
Yeah, it's just binge drinking Australian culture, really, isn't it?
And
it's so bad.
And it's the thing I find is that people here drink like every night, like not a lot, but like, I'll have 3 glasses of wine with dinner. I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, me and my husband finish off a bottle. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I don't understand. You know, like.
I've never really done that. I've never understood that.
I don't get it.
Like a couple of beers or a couple of glasses of wine every night. I probably drink once. I'm a binge drinker though.
Well, yeah, if I'm going to drink, which might be like twice a year, then I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing this anyways, my body. I'm going to go a bit hard.
Yeah, me too. I'm always like that. It's probably for me, though, it's probably once every 3 weeks the last few years, but probably like it's probably like once every 2 months the last year. Like I really haven't been drinking much. But yeah, I get pissed when I drink.
But I just can't recover. And I hate Sunday feeling like shit, like wasted a day, eating Uber Eats. Then you feel like worse. Then Monday comes, you're like, well, I didn't do anything productive.
I do love telling silly stories though.
Oh, look, yeah. Look, I've got enough of those. I went to American college, so I've got a lot of those.
Yeah. So, cool. And then, so what's got you fired up about like health and wellness at the moment out of like anything that's going on, anything that you've been because to me you seem like you're across all of it, you know, and you're very fired up by it.
Biohacker.
Yeah. No, I'm interested to know like what's got you fired up at the moment. Like this guy came in the other day, Mason,
I have that stuff. It's
Mason
awesome.
Taylor, Mason, and he's like, oh bro, mushroom this, you know, ching, and talking about like what he's fired up about, what he does, you know, and it was great, but well, that's it. It was great. But, yeah, well, I just there's so many things that are happening at the moment, and a lot of it's really good stuff.
Look, I guess the biggest thing that I'm excited for about is probably CBD. Like when Australia just decides not to make it illegal again.
My mum was selling it.
Dude, that's lit. It was good. We were using it, and then they were like, "Oh, well, my mom like broke her back 2 years ago, so she's in the States, but she uses like so much marijuana, THC, CBD, like drinks it, smokes it, like she's like full into it."
Yeah, people
but
rave
I think,
about it.
you know, what they're doing with the psychoactives, like the LSD and the MDMA
Psilocybin.
and all that stuff. Like I know it's a long way from coming here, but it's gonna make a huge impact for people, you know. And I think like CBD is known to be an anti-anxiety. So like for yourself, for anyone else who's got anxiety or depressive or like trouble winding down at nighttime, it's gonna be a game changer. Yeah.
Why is that? Do you know?
So they found a cannabinoid like system in the brain. So that's what it works on, and that's what they are. They're cannabidiols.
I actually had a dude on the show who was talking about marijuana, and I couldn't really. It was pretty dense.
Pretty out there.
Here he is over there. May love be your truth, Adam Isaac Miller.
Oh,
he gave me
deep.
He gave me this. See that little vial over there?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
It's a love note.
What is it? It's that's one of the most potent psychedelics. What's it called?
Psilocybin?
No. It's like iboga.
Oh.
It's like
no idea
you trip for like 30 hours.
Oh shit!
And
so
he's like, here you go, man.
Saving that for a rainy day.
I gave you a gift. It's in there. It says, "May love be your truth." And he put iboga in there. I'm like, what's the iboga for?
What do you do? Just like drink? Like
nah, you don't even have it. I'm like, I don't. What do you? And then anyway, he's like, I just look nice and I like iboga.
Yeah,
so
it's
he gave
cute.
it to me. But,
I love that.
Yeah.
No, look, it's on my goal. I would love to do like an ayahuasca San Pedro retreat. That was actually I was actually meant to be going to one, and then my dog last year ate something, and she had to have 7 centimeters of her stomach removed, and so it was like this whole thing, and I was pretty upset, and I was like, probably shouldn't go take a bunch of drugs for the weekend when I'm feeling pretty shit. She's all good. But that's definitely on my list. I just think like I've really gone down like a spiritual path last year about like digging into like souls and who I am and my dark and my light and all that stuff. And I think that's, you know, I think that's a very untapped field for a lot of people. Like people don't want to believe in it. People don't want to like look at their shit. You know, they don't want to be like, oh, okay, like I know a lot of my shit now, and I can really see. At least I can see it, and I can be like, okay, like this is a good decision. This person wants to do that. Okay, yep, good. So I'm aware of it, right? Yeah. Where most people have no idea. Like, and I like last year I saw a psychologist for a while, and that was awesome. Like, just a third party to word vomit onto and give you some feedback back, you know, who's also still on your team.
You're crazy.
Yeah, you're a crazy person. But that's something that I really solidified my meditation last year. My 10 minutes. I did a mindfulness course with Joe Dispenza. Like the breaking the habit of being yourself.
Yep.
So I was like, oh shit, like why do I do what I do? And so I just became so like aware of it, and then I was like, oh, that's shit, you shouldn't do that. Like, oh, that's mom's fault, or like whatever. But I think
just trying to write down here's what I do and who do I blame for it.
Yeah, well, it is so much about nutri, so it's pretty I guess like just like that, and I think these can help. So like I microdosed psilocybin for a while.
Yeah, me too.
The last sweet
2 or 3 years, I reckon.
Yeah, and I've like it just like kind of opens up everything. You just feel a bit more in tune, grounded.
Yeah,
universe,
you really do. Yeah,
all the stuff. So I think I'm excited about psychedelics coming back into the light.
Yeah, me too. That's probably actually the thing that I'm most fired up about in health and wellness, or just wellness, I guess, as well, actually. And I didn't expect you to answer that in that way, because we hadn't discussed it.
Yeah, cool.
How's about, so I got a mate, Jaden, and so I got some pretty funny stories in my life, and I've got so many good ones, and I can normally I don't like to flex this muscle, but I can normally outstory most people.
Okay, good.
Jaden, he's just got me so covered. And then anyway, so Jaden, fucking hell, he's gone and he's done like a few ayahuasca retreats or whatever, and now he's gone over to like study shamanism with this like tribe in Colombia and in the Amazon in Colombia, and he's trying to get me to go over there. And anyway, I know if I had cash, I'd go. I would have gone over there with him 5 times by now. But anyway, so he tells he's got 2 stories from this one retreat he did, and so he's had he reckons he had this shoulder issue because he's like a pretty fit, active guy. He's like doesn't really go crazy on anything, but like was doing like movement-y stuff, like Ido Portal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Done like CrossFit-y stuff and like powerlifting, whatever. Just he does lots of stuff, and he's had for 4 or 5 years this shoulder injury that no physio, myo, whatever could repair. And then anyway, and he just went in to do whatever the medicine gave him. He didn't go in with a. Anyway, he had this first night. He had this. Serving or whatever, ayahuasca, drank his cups, and then he reckons that he started tripping, and then all of a sudden his body started going like this.
Oh,
and then he's like, what's going on? He closed his eyes, and he reckons when he closed his eyes, he could see like all the little ayahuasca workers like working on his shoulder, and he's going like this. He reckons he couldn't control it, and then it would stop. And he'd go, what's going on? And he'd see them going, did we get it? Did we nail it? No, we didn't get it. And then he'd go back into this stuff. He reckons it went on for like 10 minutes.
Amazing.
It stopped like 4 or 5 times. And then it went boom, and they stopped. And he was like, oh, that was fucking weird. And then he's never had any shoulder issues in the like 2 years since.
How cool.
Really cool. And then secondarily, this story is even funnier. Oh, man. So Jaden goes, he said that he had like this, he's single and he went over there and there was a girl there and they had like just chemistry, basically.
Sweet.
And he's like, yeah, I was kind of vibing with this chick and this funny thing happened, you'll never believe it. I said, whoa, what happened? He goes, oh, so it was like 4th night and we had, our ayahuasca or whatever. And then he said that everyone went to bed and there's like 4 or 5 huts in a row. And Jaden was in like the furthest left one and she was in the furthest right one. And he reckons that like he went to his room and he was just tripping out and he felt like he had like a wet dream. He felt like he was having sex with this girl. And then, so she's over this side, right? And Jaden's like, he goes, bro, it was real. Like it was all real, but it wasn't like, it wasn't her person, but it was like
her
real.
soul or something.
Yeah. And then, anyway, so like 4 spots down were these 2 dudes that Jaden was hanging around with, and she was on the one furthest outside. So they're like 200 meters away. And then he spoke to the 2 guys the next day that were next to her room, and he was like, oh yeah, how'd you go last night, guys? They're like, yeah, this and that, started telling their stories. They're like, it was crazy though, because next door, Sarah's staying by herself, but she was like screaming like she was having an orgasm for like 2 hours. 2 hours last night. And Jaden goes, that was me. He reckons, he swears to this day.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, but he talked to her about it afterwards and like confirmed it.
Right.
Yeah, because I think they hooked up after the thing. Not on the thing, but after the thing. And she's like, yeah, I was like, it was you and whatever. Yeah, so...
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was, it was funny. But anyway, so that's a random story, but... yeah, cool.
I want one of those stories.
Yeah, so... Oh, Jaden's... he's lost it. But, cool. So what does your future look like? You said that you want to have the second space for the gym.
Second space?
Yeah, like what's, I don't know, personally, business-wise, whatever.
So we just bought a house.
Cool. Whereabouts?
Last week in Clifton Hill.
Nice one.
Moving into March, so that's super adult.
Yeah.
Wild. I guess
adult.
the plan, the plan is to hopefully go second site 2021. And we're working with someone at the moment, just negotiating things, which is fine. And then this space is going to be 2 times as large as what our gym is now. So it's about 400 square meters, which is pretty cool. So we'll be in a bigger capacity to help more people, change more lives, which is rad. And then, I guess the end goal, I mean, the next year after that is like maybe kids, 2021, maybe pop some babies out. Yeah. And I mean, the goal, I guess, is to have spaces working and work as long as I can. In a low stress environment, right? Like at the moment, like I'm really lucky. Like I love my job.
Yeah.
Like I was away for a month and like on a holiday, and I got back and I was like, my job is sweet. Like I'm not even like I gotta go back to work, and you know, you would
have been like, I get to see all my friends.
Like, and that's literally what it is. Is like my community is like a lot of my mates are like my clients, which sounds kind of lame, but like whatever, you know what I mean? As you would for sure. Like, some people just don't, like, you know, again, like you're on that journey with people.
It's just an imaginary line that's like, I own this business, you pay me money. Like, it's just all made up stuff in between.
Totally.
Like, you're just mates, really.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but
not
like
always,
in
but
this case, like in a gym
well,
scenario.
and it's personal training. Like, you're spending a lot of one-on-one time with someone. If you're doing 2 hours a week with someone, like, that's more of the time than they spend maybe with their spouse, or like, you know, pretty fucking close, right? So, and they come in and tell you things that they can't maybe talk to their work or their spouse.
You're like a counsellor / personal trainer a lot of the time.
A little bit.
You're not supposed to say that, but really you are.
Absolutely,
like, you know, I had people that I would train, and I'm like, they don't even care about fitness.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to come and chat.
I have quite a few moms that just basically come in to speak to a human.
Yeah.
Like an adult human, you know, not like a child. And I get it. And so I've had to learn, because I used to just be like, oh, no, come, like, you're here to train. But now it's like, no, it's about what they need. So, like, they need a bit of fitness. And I try and be like, keep people on track. It's like hoarding cats or something, you know? Yeah. But, I mean, it's a lot of time about their experience. So are they having a good experience? Are you doing a little bit of work? Are you, you know, you make it about them as well. Like, how are you sleeping? How you know, how's this? How's that? And, you know, people love talking about themselves. Yeah. That's why podcast is good. People love talking about themselves, you know? Like, everyone wants to. And a lot of times people don't have that to do, you know? Like, so, so second site. And then, I mean, I'm open to a third and fourth site as well. I'm not really.
Where's the second site? Is it like north
East
side?
Brunswick.
Oh, right. Cool.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if you like keeping under wraps.
No. I'm pretty open about it. East Brunswick. There's like an East Brunswick village going up. So it's not 100% yet. Just throwing that out there. But what it's looking at, it'll be. And then there's 660 apartments going up. So it's like they're building like a whole health and wellness hub. So it's a first floor gym, but they're gonna have like Pilates and yoga and chiros and osteos. It's like a whole little cool community thing going on.
Right. And you're in there.
That's the plan so far.
Oh,
so that they said early 2021, but I guess you never know with like things being built.
Yeah.
But the end goal, what I would really love to do in the next few years, is like have a house. Like we were looking at a house actually out in Budgery for a while, where you can run like a retreat, but like a retreat where like you come out, like you're getting up with sun, going down with sun, like, you know. Camping is the best way to actually regulate your hormones and your circadian rhythm and all that stuff. But then like teach people how to cook food and like take people hunting and, you know, do a bit of exercise and do it outside and like just get people back to like the basics, because the basics work. So,
for sure.
And that's going to make a bigger impact. Like even like running something like a type 2 diabetes, like 2-week workshop, like let's get your insulin levels down, let's get your fasting glucose down, like here's how you should be eating and like enjoying the sunshine and moving a bit more and you know, all that stuff. So, you know, and then you have communities, then you got like 10 or 20 people, whatever it is. So I would love to do stuff like that I think will have maybe not impact as many lives like one-on-one, but impact like them, which will impact their family and their
impact
work and
less people more greatly. Correct. Well, in a way, like if you're doing that real 2-week, like that's
immersion,
a lot of work.
Sure, totally. And then, you know, and then if you're better, then it helps your family and your kids and your work and, you know, and it's just that ripple effect. And so I would love to do that eventually, but I mean, I'm just taking it one day at a time and enjoying it. And, you know, I never thought, like, we opened the gym 2 years ago and I was like, okay, well, I want 400 members. I was like, all right, let's just start where we're at. And I create a space that I love and that I want to be in. And then, like, we've never had to advertise ever, right? We've never had to hand out anything because people come and they're like, oh, your gym looks awesome. That means your product
is really good.
Well, what you do is really absolutely. Good. And so, I mean, there's always things you can improve on, but, you know, I think if you keep those core values of like people first, humility, like, you know, like I just like, and like taking feedback on board, all that stuff. Like you got to be open to it. You got to be humble, and you got to be happy, and you just got to be smart.
Yeah.
That's it. And it works. So yeah. So, and then that, and I guess like from like an athletic point of view, since I said I was an athlete.
Professional athlete over here. Athlete by day.
Not a professional athlete.
Grown up athlete.
No, so I do, I want to actually compete in Ninja next year. So I've just kind of gotten big into that. I did make the auditions for Ninja Warrior, but I didn't make the show this year. Unlucky.
I went to the auditions actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Lit.
But I didn't really, it wasn't this year, it was last year. I didn't really try though.
What does that even? I didn't really try.
I rolled up there and like I was just like dressed in like whatever, and then everyone was going so hard, and I was just like, I don't really want to do that.
Who are you? I don't even know what this is.
And then I try to talk about it, and I'm like, well, I've got a pretty funny story, like not story, but like, you know, this is why I should be on the show.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nah, you didn't fucking get out of here.
Yeah,
plus,
you're out.
I'm, you know, probably might not have made it anyway. I had so many mates in that show though from the CrossFit community.
Yeah, well, there's heaps. Like, and they take so many a year as well.
Yeah. So what? So would you compete in? I'm just interested. So is Ninja like? Obviously, it's a TV show, Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
But is it like a sport as well? Like you can go to Ninja Leagues.
I go to a ninja-based gym in Bayswater called the Compound.
Oh yeah.
And so I go to.
How have I heard of that?
They're awesome. They do OCR and Ninja. So I do that like.
What's OCR like? Spartan.
Obstacle course racing.
Yeah.
So I do that like 3 or 4 times a week, and it's good because you suck every time you go. You just suck at everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's also an ego thing.
Yeah.
You're like, why am I so bad at this?
Yeah. I've been bouldering the last 6 months.
Yeah. And so
equally
sucking.
I suck at.
But it's so good because people don't suck at things often.
No,
or do things that they suck at.
Look at my leg.
Yeah, I saw that.
You should see underneath that.
Well, I don't want to see underneath that.
Not good. That's from
so it's really, if you ever looking for something like just to like challenge your brain, and then like once you get something, they change it like every 2 weeks, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's like the bouldering. They change the walls, you know. So.
Yeah, urban climb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
It's really good.
And then Spartan. So I'm bigger into Spartan. I've been doing Spartan race for a few years now. And last year I won in my age group, I won 7 out of the 8, 9 races I did.
Really?
In my age group. But so now I'm jumping to the elite level. I'm not a big deal. I'm not a big deal.
The more you talk, the more I'm starting to think that you might actually be a big deal, Jess.
Age group is like middle tier. So now I've jumped to the elite category. And so that's going to be it's terrifying because I'm now back. It's hard when you're like, I know I can win the age group, but now I'm like, you're going to be down middle pack again. So.
Put me back with the age group. Put me back where I can win.
And it's unfortunate because the people who are generally really good at it have a running background and then get strong, where I'm like, shitty at running, but I'm really strong. So I'm just trying to work on those weaknesses and get uncomfortable. So that's my goal, is to podium this year. That's the goal. And the other thing I want to go to BOSS. Do you know what BOSS is?
What is it?
It's Boulder Outdoor Survival School. So it's in
never heard of it.
Boulder, Utah. And what they do is you can do a 7, 14, 21, 28 day immersion. You get a knife, a poncho, and a water bottle. You go out with a guide and you survive for whatever level you choose.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sounds lit. Boss. So that's and people you can read their life-changing stories, and so that's also on my list this year to do. So yeah, that's it.
You got a lot of stuff to do this year, it seems like. You better get out and get cracking into some of that.
I gotta go for a run.
Oh, sweet. Well, cool. Well, I'll let you get out of it, I guess. So everything you've spoken about, I'm sure some people are really fired up by, some or all of what you've talked about.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, the gym, anything like your
so the
personal
gym's
stuff?
On Smith Street. We've got Project Better, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Better Health with Jess. Instagram, Facebook. You can slide into those DMs if you got any questions. Come to the community.
Questions.
Yeah, questions.
Questions.
Like nudies.
Right. Just to be very, I want to be making sure all my, people like me listen to this show.
Yeah.
Creepos. So you have to preface everything you say when you talk about.
Please don't send me any creepy photos unless you look really good at the shop. No, I'm just joking.
Which you never do.
Yeah,
gentlemen,
right?
you never do.
No one asks for a dick pic ever. It never looks good.
I think you should be thrown straight in jail. But anyway, so
Instagram, Facebook, Better Health with Jess. We have a community class every Saturday, 9:30. Everyone is welcome, all levels. It's pretty fun. That's it. That's the things. That's what I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. All right. Well, that's it, I guess.
That's it. Thank you so much.
All right. And that's a wrap.